And we are starting streaming. What's up, everybody? Happy full moon. Welcome to the Obsidian Blade Medicine Hour. And we're going to dive into all the feelings, all the emotions, all the possibility, all the energy and opportunity that this full moon is providing for us, because it's one hell of a ride, and I'm sure you're feeling it here, there, and everywhere in all aspects of your life. So really, the questions that, and the theme, the dominant theme that's been coming up is, when everything is gone, who do you become? We've got something like 6 planets in retrograde right now. And so when all celestial assistance is gone, when the universe is saying, hey, I'm actually going to take a break, who do you become? How do you become equal to the call that's going on right now to become powerful and to stand up on your own 2 legs that were given to you metaphorically, energetically, reality-wise, to walk the life that you've been aching to live, that is more true in your heart to live. And, we're going to take a look at, when you don't have anything to hold on to, like old concepts. If you're no longer holding on to old concepts or old ideas of yourself, are you even entertaining the new idea of yourself? And what does that look like? And how do you anchor that? And when we get these new powers that come with making the shift, come with doing the shadow work, when we get your new powers, where do those powers live? And really, what does your body feel like when you hold the new mental attitude of being aligned with your truth and being aligned with life and having a beautiful living connection with the earth? So those are the things we're going to take a look at in this special time of existence known as the full moon eclipse, super blood moon. And with 6 planets in retrograde, this is the moment we've been waiting for, one of the major kickoffs that humanity has been needing to get our asses empowered and aligned. And so again, I say welcome, Shift Crew, Empath Nation, to the Obsidian Blade Medicine Hour. If you're catching this live or on the replay, welcome. I am so grateful that you're spending time with me and us as the Shift Crew, the, Team Transition Tribe. And, we're going to cover all things full moon, shift, new earth, and reclaiming your power as a creator. And if you didn't know already, this is a live program that I do on YouTube Live as well as Instagram, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, when I have enough coffee to actually make it exactly at 10 a.m. Today's a little late. The energy is, as we're feeling it, I'm a little puffy from how much energy is going on. So... But I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad we're about to rock it together. And if you're new to this channel, here's what we do. As empaths, healers, creators, blossoming into our full abilities, we navigate the exit of the crumbling matrix slave system, aka the land of the dead, aka the toxic patriarchy. And, through the exploration and cleansing of your shadow side, that you can come back fully to life and become the shift you've been seeking and live in your full power on New Earth in the light of the 6 sun star system. I've got the maps. We are the crew. Let's do this after I drink some water. So yeah, this is really the theme for me that I have, I feel like I've hit the gold on the theme of this full moon energy right now, which is when everything is gone, who do you become? And so when I say, what does it mean when everything is gone? It means that, if you've had crutches in your life, things that you've been depending upon to help you walk, and then those things go away, Not because you're bad, not because you're doing it wrong, not that because you're being punished, but those things go away at a certain time because they're like, okay, you've been leaning on me a little bit, say the celestial forces or your guides or your allies. We've been leaning on them to get our stability back, to get our equilibrium back, and to restore muscles, to restore our psychic muscles and condition ourselves into the feeling state, which we'll go into deeper, the feeling state of what it means to be aligned and in our power. But we're also having to examine, where have we been using these external allies, external forces, or infrastructure as crutches. And so right now, the celestial energy, the astrological energy is like, we're taking a break. We're leaving the room. And so when your crutches go away, can you now stand? Did you do the work? Can you now stand on your own 2 feet in your truth? Right? And so that's what we're seeking to become, is really our truth. And the other things that are going away, as I say in that opening statement, the crumbling matrix system, right? We're looking at everything that had authority in our world is now a joke, right? The joke is up. The time, time's up, joke is up, haha, funny. When we look at government, right? It's a show. And the show is now comedy hour. It's like, it can't even be taken seriously, right? And that is the timing also to reflect back to you, who is the one who's in charge of your life? Well, it's you. And so in an empowered system of existence, again, true empowerment is where you're no longer relying upon anything external to you to walk on your own 2 feet. And again, what's crumbling is values that weren't in alignment with your truth, but also a society and values that limited the possibility of what a full human being can do, can express, can manifest, and can exist as. Okay, those are the major limitations that are starting to come off. So right now in current society, we talk a lot about diversity, or we kind of hold the symbols of diversity on a very base level. We showcase diversity right now, of course, color of skin, diversity of culture, and diversity of sexual preference, and diversity of gender preference, right? But that's all basic. That's those basic things. The diversity that's really coming into play after we cleanse and we get comfortable with that first stage of diversity is the diversity of human possibility. And that is where we become creative again, creators. We realize that we've been frozen to one aspect of what is possible in the human experience. So let me just drop a hint that sounds very far-fetched, but we see it a lot in media, is magic, right? So maybe the next step of diversity is being able to perform feats of magic, right? When we're no longer limited to what we've been told we can do, and we give ourselves permission to do anything, then I would say things like magic would be the next step, right? But really, I don't want to get too far out there, because I realize, what people are dealing with right now is frustration, and you're dealing with fear, and you're dealing with anger, along with relief and excitement that this full moon is bringing into play. So I want to keep it grounded. I want to keep it real. I want to keep it where you're at and what you're wanting to have a breakthrough with. So again, when everything is leaving the room and there's no more crutches for you to use, this is the moment where you pick up your own power and you walk in this life on your own 2 feet, in the path, in the direction of your true election of your heart. So this is again cleansing the old ideas of self, but also cleansing the agreements that we hold culturally, in our minds as to what is possible. And, how much, my question to you is, how much right now are you dedicating time each day to entertaining the new idea of yourself once you have let go of all restrictions? Once you have let go of all ideas that you don't have power, and letting go of all ideas of the way it is or how it works, when in fact, the way it is and how it works are memes, the cultural transmission of ideas that you have a hand in co-creating and you have a hand in letting go. So again, please take the time now. This is the moment going forward to really cleanse the old addictions, cleanse the old perspectives that you chose to adopt, and start entertaining the new idea of yourself. We are learning to break a major habit of the way we were conditioned to think. We habitually think in a certain way, and now it's time to recognize it as for what it is. It's just a habit of how we thought it was. So where do thoughts exist, right? So our thinking predominantly happens in the mind, and then our bodies are the receiver of those pattern thinkings, right? So much so that the body then continues our thinking for us, right? We program our body to think for us so that our dominant beliefs are reflexive, right? We barely have to think about certain things. Like certain things are very, like on that level, are very practical. Like when you walk up to a door, you don't have to like go like, what is that thing that on the thing? Oh, it's a knob. And then you turn it and then it opens, right? There's a lot of things that are very practical that we don't have to think about anymore because we've trained ourselves as to what they are and we just get on with life, right? But there is a certain amount of things on that programming level that are concepts that are holding us back. So, I examine in my own life, here's the tricky thing. Like if we're going to entertain new possibilities, we have to examine whether or not, of course, we're having the right mental attitude, but also are we cleansing the old, and are we establishing what it feels like to have what we want? And of course, this is coming into the territory of being a creator or a manifester. And whenever we get into that topic of manifestation, it can be a little airy-fairy. It can be a little frustrating. And so what I want to talk about is giving tangibility and practicality to that concept or the practice of manifestation, right? Let's take it out of the woo-woo and put it into real life. And so, when I look at my own life, right, I'm wanting a particular personal transformation right now. Right now, according to science, I'm supposedly 20 pounds overweight. And I have a certain body fat percentage. It's around 17%. I want to transform that. Okay, so realistically, maybe it would be healthy for me to lose 10 pounds. And also, I'd love to trim my body fat percentage down from 17 to a whopping 10%. Now, if I'm not creating the correct mental attitude in my mind, then I'm not going to get there, right? I'm not going to get there because if I'm holding an overweight or a larger version of myself that's been conditioned to use food as an emotional crutch, if I'm holding that idea of that person in my mind, then all the workouts, all the dieting, all the intermittent fasting is not really going to move the scale, literally, because I'm not just holding, let's get beyond the word vibration. I'm not holding the emotional quality of what it feels like to be lean. And that's the goal for me, is to feel 10 or 20 pounds more lean. And so when I'm working out, I have to hold the mental image and then move my body in accordance with someone who's 10 to 20 pounds lighter. And that's a mental reframe that holds and anchors that new space. So if I give that to you to parallel, like, what in your life right now are you wanting to change, but you're not holding the feeling state of being there first. So when we look at the big four, health, wealth, love, and happiness, out of those big four, where do you want to change? Especially right now in the full moon, as we let go of all the previous rules of how it was done and we find our own way, our authentic truth. When you discover your authentic truth, what does it feel like? And are you holding that new feeling and literally embodying it, discovering it and holding it in the mind, and then sending that into feeling into the body and going like, this is what it feels like to move in a life that's now connected to the earth. This is what it feels like to move in life in love. This is what it feels like to move in my life in a way where finances are cool and abundance is flowing. So we're really needing to get into that aspect of what's our authentic truth, and then take it into the feeling state. So it's mental attitude plus the feeling state. And so, again, I'm having to really embody what it means to do that for myself, as far as like my own physical structure. Because like, if you're having an old idea in your mind and you're not examining what that old idea is, then it's like you're pushing 200 pounds uphill and then yelling at yourself because you don't have enough motivation. And you can see how that's totally backwards and fucked up and misaligned. So a lot of our thoughts are like elephants that we're trying to like do a tug of war with, or push an elephant up a hill. And if you haven't cleansed your commitment to the way it was, then change is going to be harder. And this is the name of the game that we're in right now, is transformation. And so, watch out for holding on to very heavy old thinking that is going to basically kind of like exhaust you. And then you'll end up in this exhausted state and then saying it back on. You're like, how come I'm not motivated? Because you haven't transformed the 2,000-pound elephant in your mind, and then established the lighter, more fluid feeling within your body of flowing and growing where you wish to be and become. And so, don't question your motivation. Question the unquestioned. Don't question your motivation. Question the darkness that you haven't sought to find within you, where you're holding on to the harder belief structures. Like I said, it's not only just like how to open a door, but it's what you fundamentally believe is possible. And that's all up for grabs, because the external world is giving us the cues of the timing and the clues that you don't depend on anything to become who you are. You don't even depend on the sun and the moon to be who you are, because they're doing their own thing. And it's really a time of discovery of what is your thing, beyond all definitions that have been handed to us before. Go large, go big, go far. And yeah, commitment to the old is resistance, and there's that phrase, what you resist will persist. And so we have to do the cleanse. We have to do the master cleanse of the mind and the emotions, as we've programmed our body to feel. So again, I ask you that question when everybody leaves the room, right? You can even think about it in your own life. You're at a party, you leave the party, or everybody leaves the party and you're there alone. Who are you? You know? And this is also a time to really not only choose your thoughts wisely and choose your feelings wisely, but to choose your friends wisely, to choose your lovers wisely. And again, that we typically manifest friends and loved ones due to our beliefs of how we would like to treat ourselves. So if you're attracting people who limit you, you may have a belief that you only deserve to fly so high. And right now I'm encouraging you to like disregard all the limits. And with that subconscious cleansing, you may be switching up who you're hanging out with. I just want to hear, like, has anybody been switching up who they've been hanging out with in your mind or externally? You know, we've got to choose wisely everything. That is the responsibility of being a creator, is that we actually, it's down to us to choose wisely. And if we don't choose wisely, you know, we're at the mercy of our own powers. And I just want to give power to that. You know, we have to recognize just how incredibly in control and in power we are. Yeah, good to hear from you. Yes, yeah, and then to help others do the same. And that's what we're doing here, is to be like, let's anchor the new vibration together. This is the Sangha. This is the sacred community. This is Shift Crew. And as Shift Crew, we hold each other to the new standard of infinite possibility. And you know, just to give a shout out, I love that everyone's here on YouTube Live and Instagram Live, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. PST. If you here on YouTube, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you love what I'm talking about here, please hit subscribe and the notifications bell, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. PST. And also, I've started a Facebook group. I want to let everybody know, a private Facebook group, because I want to give free trainings on a lot of, what you need. You know, there are certain methods that we've got to put in place that anchor this, so that we have a discipline and a practice. And I want to shape that up for you and give it to you free. And I'm doing that in the private Facebook group. So please, there's a link I'll put below the video here on YouTube, and there's a link in my bio on Instagram that's going to lead you to the Facebook private Facebook group. You know, click the button to be asked to request to be in get accepted to it, and I'll add you. And again, I want to listen to you, and I want to hear what you would like to be trained in, and I'm going to give that training. So it's very much a place that we get to go deeper, rather than just going like, sending each other cute little emojis. We need some depth, and we need some technique, and we need some discipline to implement those techniques. So I'm here to do that for you and with you as we establish these new frequencies and these new possibilities. So thank you for being here, and I'm really grateful that you participate and give me your time when I do these lives and share that. This is really our moment. This is really our moment to do what we came here to do. The external is falling away. And, with that, we have to stay vigilant as to not get caught up in what's being deconstructed, what's falling away, what's breaking. Like, don't over-identify or get worried that things are breaking, or the infrastructure of our society as we knew it is falling apart. This is part of what's happening. And it looks scary. It looks intense. But that old world is not the ground that you're needing to stand on. And truly, the empowerment that's going on is that you have legs and you can stand up, and you can walk the path that you choose to choose. And it's got nothing to do with what was handed to you before. And that's the great possibility that we're being given. This is the shot at freedom, true liberation and true freedom that we're being given right now. So, what does that take? That takes sacrifice. It takes not identifying with things that no longer serve you. So that takes sacrificing the old ways. That also takes sacrificing your patterns, your again, those 2,000-pound elephants in your mind that you haven't examined. Those got to go too, because if you want to be light and free and fluid, you gotta dump some baggage. You gotta dump the baggage. And so, why I'm doing that private Facebook group is to anchor techniques so that we have a discipline, something that we do regularly that's saying, you can make the switch. You can make the switch and make it comfortable in your body so that you're operating in the way that feels great to you. And so that's going to take sacrifice and discipline. And then we look for the clues. Is it happening? Are the changes that you're making in your life happening? And that's when we do look outside of ourselves after we've established the mind cleansing and the feeling, and we anchor that in our body. Then we look for the clues. Is it happening? And that's when we look to reality, in quotes, for us causing an effect out in the world as per our new choices that feel awesome and great. And so that's what we're up to. And one of the major themes, I got asked this question yesterday when I was doing an Instagram live, and I think it's a very essential part of our process that I'm wanting to also teach is when we've stopped being in a culture, which I call the land of the dead, we've got to come back to life. And so a big part of coming back to life, I say this often, the way back to life is through the mother. And who is the mother? The mother is Mother Earth. She is the one that has created us, right? And there's an interesting science about that too, that we can prove that Mother Earth created us. And I'm going to get into that into a second. But, really the question and challenge and possibility that we're needing to get back to is, how do we connect with the earth, right? How do we do it? And I was mentioning yesterday on the live, imagine your relationship with the earth is a conversation. Now, if we think about people in our own lives that we love, but we haven't talked to in a long time, when we call that person up or we schedule a date with them and we show up and we haven't seen them, say like we love them, but we haven't seen them in 10 years. Do you show up to that date, to that conversation, blabbing your mouth off? Like dominating the conversation? Or do you show up to that meeting with a long lost friend and you sit there and you say, you know what? Tell me everything. Tell me everything. I want to hear what happened to you. I want to know what went on with you the past 10 years. I love you so much and I'm excited about you. What happened? How have you grown? Who are you now? That is the attitude that we've got to take on when it comes to reconnecting to the earth. The earth doesn't need us to show up with knowledge right now. This is the relationship that we're needing to reestablish. She doesn't need us to show up with all the answers. In fact, it's time for us to show up to the conversation with her with no agenda, because we haven't been listening to her. In our culture, now there are indigenous cultures that have always been listening to her and they have not lost that relationship. But in our mainstream Western culture, we are the ones who have lost the way. And that's why I call it the land of the dead. We are not connected to life in the way the indigenous have not lost. So we are needing to relearn our own ways to have a relationship with life, which is exemplified through our relationship with the Mother Earth. So, if you haven't connected with her, again, how do you do it, right? So the first art of our reconnecting with the Mother is our art, the art of listening. And really, in our mainstream culture, we've been bad listeners. We've been saying this is how it is, blah 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 blah, my way or the highway, no 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 no, with complete disregard for the very thing that gives you existence, which is her. So that's your first thing, is to take time to get back into nature, which is really you, because in the indigenous mindset, there is no difference between you and the environment. There's no difference between you and her, because we are all one. So reestablishing the connection with her requires you to come to her empty-handed and say, hey, I think you kind of know a few more things than me, Mother Earth. If I don't know about life, meaning how life functions, meaning like the process of like how a seed is planted in the earth and then she grows it and she nurtures it and then gives it back to us as fruit or shelter or anything that we've manifested. Like, it's weird to say, but Mother Earth is a technology on a certain level, the technology of birth and creation and nurturance. If we've lost our way with that sequence, then we're needing to be with her to relearn it. And I think that's especially true for the masculine. So, I know women give birth all the time to children and are way more connected to life. I mean, the feminine and the Mother Earth are parallels and mirrors and equals of each other on that level. But especially for if you're holding, whether or not you're a man or a woman, if you're holding a lot of disconnected masculine energy, then this is definitely the process to have a relationship with the feminine, and having a relationship with the earth is to listen. And, we see it in popular culture right now with a lot of things like, say, the Me Too movement, where the masculine has been having its way with total disregard, with the feminine, with total disregard to the impact on the feminine. That is a parallel to how we have been treating the material resources of the earth, right? We've been digging and mining and chopping and killing with no regard to impact. And so we're out of balance. And we're out of balance, with the feminine itself. And so even in our popular culture, we're coming back into balance with the feminine by the masculine, whether you're a man or a woman, the masculine within you, to sit down and listen to the feminine within you, so that we're getting sensitive to impact, sensitive to action, sensitive to intent. And so, coming to the earth again is a time to relearn life. And I say it often, that there is a language of life. And that language of life, we don't know about it too much on a global scale. Right now, the predominant language that people talk on the earth is not English. It's actually called the language of commerce. And the language of commerce operates on a core principle that the earth is a dead object in which we can do anything with it we please, especially those in control who operate mining facilities or like oil facilities, those sort of things that treat the earth as a dead object. To then, here's the trippy thing that we do with the language of commerce. We speak of her as a dead object. That's now something that we chop up her flesh, package it a certain way, and then we sell it back to each other for a high premium. That's a really weird thing that we do as human beings right now. We take her flesh, mold it into objects, and then sell her flesh back to ourselves for a lot of money. That's how weird we are right now on a certain level. That we're really fucking weird people. That if we saw what we were doing on that primal level, that's a strange thing to do, but we're doing it. And so we speak now the predominant language of commerce. But in order to learn a new language, what do? Again, you don't come to language class full of your ideas of how to speak the new language of life. You come admitting that you don't know anything. If you're going to learn the most amount of knowledge possible, you don't come to a class with your old ideas, ready to dominate that class with your old way of thinking. So as we relearn the language of life, transitioning from the language of commerce to the language of life, we've got to come empty. And we look to our greatest teacher, the Mother Earth, to guide us back on how to speak the language of life. And we do that by listening and observing. So to get back to that core question of how do we connect to the earth, that's the attitude. And so I want to set up a practice for you is, go to her, ask questions, and then wait for the response. So this is a very classic thing in music too, in especially in indigenous music. I learned this first in West African drumming. It's called call and response. Call and response. So set up a relationship with the earth where you have call and response. So go to her, ask her your questions, and then listen for the response. And get into that game, that beautiful relationship where the response, if you're open-minded, is going to be a delicious game that you can play with her, where she may lead you to a book. She may lead you to a landscape. She may lead you to new people. She will guide you, but you are now having an aspect of your life where you're open to these things because you're creating the space to have a call and response dialogue with the Mother Earth. So I want to put that out there as a practice for you to start is don't come to her with knowledge. Don't come to her with your ideas. Come with her ready to learn and start to ask questions and be available for the answers that you get. Make sense? Does that feel exciting? That's the only way to learn. If you don't know nothing, then be guided. Be guided by her to learn the language of life. And I love this kind of quest I'm on to answer this question that I came up for myself. Where does our flesh come from? And I straight up say, it's like, if we're mirrors, we live in a mirror universe. Our bodies are a microfractal or a mirror or micro version of the earth itself, right? So you can look at the amount of water that's on the earth is reflectively, or the amount of water that's in our bodies, in our cellular structure, right? We are somewhere around 65-75% water. That's kind of the same thing with the earth. And so we're planets in training, basically. We're creators in training. We're planets in training. And, we look to our bodies and we say, okay, where does our flesh come from? And if we adopt the indigenous mindset that there is no environment, there is no separation between you and her, you are one, then your flesh comes from the mother. This is you. And you are filled with minerals and precious metals and cells. And there's a couple of trippy science facts around this, that if you extracted all the precious metals, there's actually gold and silver and iron in you. If you extracted all the precious metals out of your body and you sold them on the open market, this is a fucked up thing to say, but if you sold all the precious metals that are actually in your body, you are technically worth $125,000 on the current precious metals exchange right now. That's a trippy fact that I just found out about. So, if you're having self-worth issues, well, at least you're worth $125,000 on the open market with all the precious gold and silver that's inside of you. But of course, we're not going there because that's kind of a fucked up thing. That's the old world. But another trippy fact that, if you look at what the Earth is, right? The Earth is this beautiful spaceship, Gaia. And she's holding all these organisms, right? She's holding all these plant life. She's holding all the animals, and she's holding us. We're that same type of home. Science has now shown that actually the human body itself, what's inside of you, you're actually only 49% human and 51% foreign energies, foreign cells, like gut bacteria. Gut bacteria is not you. We host 51% of your body is hosting, the mass of your body is hosting organisms that are not you. And so you are home, just like she is home, for a lot of things. And those things all have to be in harmony so that you don't get sick, right? So part of our quest right now is to harmonize with ourselves and harmonize with her. So, understand that there is no difference between you and her. And here's another little break that I want to say, and your energy and your electromagnetic energy. And so it's important right now. I'm waking up every day. And as soon as I wake up, I'm saying literally within the first 5 minutes of waking up, drink 24 ounces of water, because you're also electricity, which means you're also a battery. And batteries in your car, when they have no liquid in them and no electrolytes, they die, they stop. So kick your day off right with water immediately, 24 ounces. If not, and then I think within the first hour of waking up, I'm actually doing 48 ounces of water. And that changes the game. So please drink water. This full moon episode is brought to you by water. So, here's another science thing that I love. I just want to kick this down. I'm on this science kick right now. Again, seeing the earth as you, seeing the earth as a home. And then also there's a very interesting science debate that's going on that people also show that how we're reflections. That when you look to the stars at the night, the distance between two stars on the macro level is actually a mirror of the distance of the protons and nucleus of atoms within your body. And so there's people who are doing the math now to kind of prove this. It's been a kind of a debate for many years now that they actually, in a macro scale versus a micro scale, the distance between stars in the night sky is actually relatively the same distance between protons and nucleuses within your atoms. And so when you look to the night sky, you're actually looking at the atomic structure inside the consciousness of the universe. You're looking literally at atoms within the body, inside the body of galactic consciousness. And that is mirrored within the darkness of your body on the atomic level. So that's kind of a little fun fact. Birch Moon Wisdom, while doing spiritual work, I have to drink constantly. Yeah, get woozy. I'm just like constantly dehydrated. Yoga, ACMF, what's up? So happy everyone's here. Again, full moon energies. I just want to drop back into the initial part of this conversation is like the full moon is intense. We're in the eclipse. And this is the moment to, again, as all elements of the external world drop away, all support drops away. Who do you become and who do you source for your own power to live the life that you want? Big clue is it's you. And it's time for you to stand up on your own two legs, because you have them, to walk the path that is most true to you, and to do the work of really cleansing anything that holds you back from the feeling. Because like I was giving that example earlier about, shifting my own, body structure and losing weight and dropping body fat percentage. If I don't hold the feeling of a leaner person inside my mind and then feel it as I do my exercise, the mental block will keep me at my old weight, and I won't drop those pounds. So, health, wealth, and love and happiness, any one of those quadrants, we're having to examine where we're holding ourselves back by a commitment previously made in this life that is now up for grabs. All your commitments to the way it was are up for grabs, and that's a good thing. And I know it might be a little scary, because what's this new territory? But the new territory, I feel, is signified by returning to a state of play, right? Where did I write this? I had a little line about Legos that I wrote. Oh yeah, this is the time of creation. Oh, welcome back, creators. This is the time of creation. And so when you stop giving your power away to the old, it's like you get all your Legos back, And what do you do when you get with all your Legos back? It's time to build, and it's time to be. And this is an interesting statement. It's time to be the child who came here and was existing before all of life's circumstances had their effect upon you. That's kind of the level we're cleansing. Now, I'm not saying be a baby or be immature, because all of our life lessons so far have given us great insights, great wisdom. When we work with the pain, we get stronger. And that, I don't want you to get rid of that. But that's an interesting concept to get, and reality and feeling, that return of the state of play, and to be the child in you that existed before all of life's circumstances conditioned you to be what you are now. So may you get back in touch with that state of innocence and that state of play, to then reclaim all of your Legos and build something new that really, really floats your boat and gets you excited. And to, again, hold the feeling of that excitement within your body, so that it's actually having a home. And so we want to be the home of our new manifestation. We want to be the home of our new life, where we've really rocked health, wealth, love, and happiness to the level we know we want it to be and beyond. So I know on Instagram Live that the time is about to end really soon. Again, I just want to give a shout out that so stoked you're here. I hope everyone's feeling very encouraged and empowered with this new moon. Again, I just want to remind you that all the audio from these lives is taken and cleaned up and put on the podcast, theobsidianblade.com/subscribe, to find all the buttons for Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher. And also we have, now on Facebook, I created the private Facebook group. The link is in the bio for this, called the Obsidian Blade Shift Crew. It's the HQ for your breakthrough. And that's where I'm going to be giving some free, trainings just for people who are in that private group, because again, we're needing to anchor, we have to make some sacrifices in our life, and we need to make some disciplines in our life so that we can anchor and use practices that get us to the place that we're really wishing and wanting and desiring to live from. So I put that out there. Please, links to all of that is in the bio in Instagram, and the links to all of that will be under the video in YouTube. And if you like this on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Please hit subscribe and the notifications bell. And so we can grow this Shift Crew larger and larger and larger, and really be there for each other. That's the whole point of being connected. This is tribe, this is crew, this is the empath nation. And we do that so that we hold each other, we got each other's backs. You have an ally. I'm your ally. Okay. May I be your ally and friend in this process of the great reclaiming of our creation powers. So again, cleansing all you've been resisting in your life, getting into energetic emotional flow, and establish the good feeling state inside your body of owning the feeling of your most desired state of being and existing. And then you know where you're going, you know? Thank you, Boundless Warrior. Thank you, Birch Moon Wisdom and Little Hawk Midnight. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. I had a little note on psychic contracts. Because you have to remember, yes, and hold each other accountable for our creative endeavors. You know, one last little quick thing. And Martina, always so glad you're here. One little thing that I want to say about psychic contracts. You have been hired to feel. Feeling is the materialization of thought. And it's the tangible feedback loop that gives us insight as to the quality of our own agreements and our own thinking. And what's really interesting, because we're incarnated, we sometimes have contracts with disembodied entities from past lives, other dimensions, that are wanting to experience the earth materialization through your body. So again, also when we cleanse the contracts or cleansing our thoughts to live our own life, realize that some of your life is not your life because we have psychic contracts with other beings. So this is also a time that I would say to cancel or examine your cable bill with these external beings who are using your thoughts and emotions to manifest themselves here on the earth or to feel through your body. So again, not all your feelings that you're dealing with are yours. They come from society, your contract to society, your contract to the times, and your contract to other beings. And I want to say, hey, you have a right. And I think this is the time where we're canceling all contracts. Chew on that, feel that, dive into that, cancel all the contracts, and really take inventory as to what you have been agreeing to. And again, that's why we do the deep shadow work, the deep subconscious work. And how you can get a handle on the deep subconscious work is to find the pre-existing feelings in your body. Pre-existing feelings equal pre-existing agreements. Pre-existing feelings, chronic pain equal pre-existing contracts, pre-existing attentions, pre-existing commitments to the way it is always, in quotes. And that's what's up for grabs. Do that homework. And we can start to, if you don't have a technique around that, then that's what we can start to do in the private Facebook group, if that's where we want to head to first. You know, what's the method that we can make this happen where we're doing those cleansings? And that's a really key thing that I just hit you up on there, is really do that level of being in the body, because the body is the materialization of thought. And it's the materialization of the thoughts of the consciousness of the universe made manifest. And so pre-existing feelings equal pre-existing commitments. And all commitments, all contracts are up for negotiation so that we can get to awesomeness and a state of play and getting access to all our Legos so we can build something new that feels real fun. So yeah, kick ass, create some sacred time today, create a moment with this full moon to sacrifice something that's no longer serving you. Again, those pre-existing feelings inside of you is something that you can give up. And one of the amazing powers of the full moon even though it's an eclipse. Here's an interesting trip. Even though it's an eclipse, again, I was saying earlier, all celestial bodies are taken 5, so you can find your own power and thrive. And take 5 to thrive, celestial bodies. So even the moon is kind of, when the moon is getting eclipsed, it's kind of in a retrograde itself. And so that celestial body is also removed at the peak of the full moon, removing itself, or it's so that you can arise. So I would say typically on the full moon, because of the magnetism of the full moon, you can throw what you want to sacrifice to the full moon and she'll suck it up. But I kind of think this is our moment to not use anybody but our own power to let go of what's no longer serving you. So I remind you that this is the moment in humanity where we remember that we are the power, and you have the power to let go of what is no longer serving you. You have the freedom to let go of what's no longer serving you, and you have the right, the creative act, the creative empowerment to let go of what's no longer serving you, so that you can anchor the new good feeling of being the loving, excited creator that you are. So this is a very interesting moment. This is a very interesting time, that all celestial bodies, maybe even helpers and guides, are like, I need to go nourish myself. I think you've got this. I think you've got this, human beings. I think you've got this. And I think it's kind of important for us to leave the room so you remember that you've got 2 legs, 2 arms, a heart, and a mind, and the power of emotions, energy and motion to make the changes you're seeking. Welcome, Shift Crew, Team Transition, beautiful Earthlings. It's time for us to be equal players in the game. If you tattoo anything on your body today, may it be, we are equal players in the game of existence. We are equal players in the game of existence. Now let us relearn and remember how to use those powers for the good of our own evolution and the care of this planet and the health and harmony of life. Love you so much. I am so happy to be here with you. Hit those links in the bio for the private Facebook group, and please subscribe to YouTube. I show different graphics on YouTube that I can't show on Instagram, and diagrams and maps. And I love everyone, and I will catch you on Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Mwah. Besos, kisses, hugs. You are all the people we have been looking for, and you look pretty good. Okay, check you soon.